They say the walls of Pollsmoor Prison don't just hold men, they hold ghosts, stories buried deep within concrete and steel, tales of power, corruption, and human despair. Welcome to a world hidden behind razor wire. Welcome to Pollsmoor, one of the most feared prisons on the African continent. Located in the heart of Cape Town, South Africa, Pollsmoor isn't just a prison. It's a world of its own, a city within a city. Built to contain 4,000 inmates, it now suffocates under the weight of nearly double that number. Behind those gates are men who've seen and done things most of us can't even imagine. But beyond the violence and chaos lies a deeper question. How did it come to this? And what does this place reveal about the soul of a nation? The story of Pollsmoor begins in 1964, a year that marked a turning point in South Africa's brutal apartheid regime. The government needed a new maximum security facility to replace the aging Rowland Street prison. Pollsmoor was meant to be modern, efficient, and secure, a fortress for those deemed dangerous or undesirable. But from the beginning, it became something else entirely. During the height of apartheid, Pollsmoor became a dumping ground for political prisoners, men and women who dared to defy the system. Among them was Nelson Mandela, who was transferred here in 1982 after nearly 2 decades on Robben Island. Mandela described Pollsmoor as a living hell, a place of darkness and decay, the air thick with despair, the cells crawling with disease. Even he, a man of unbreakable resolve, said Pollsmoor tested the limits of his endurance. But Mandela wasn't the only one to suffer within these walls. Thousands of political dissidents, activists, and ordinary citizens accused of resisting apartheid were crammed together, beaten, starved, silenced. The prison became a mirror of the regime itself, oppressive, violent, and ruled by fear. When apartheid fell in the early 1990s, South Africa promised reform, equality, justice, and human rights for all. But Pollsmoor never changed. The names of the wardens did, the uniforms did, but the system stayed the same. Overcrowding worsened. Cells built for 19 men held 80. Water ran brown. Food was scarce. Disease spread like wildfire. The walls that once silenced political voices now echoed with the chaos of gangs and the cries of the forgotten. For decades, Pollsmoor has been home to South Africa's most dangerous and most desperate inmates. But inside, survival is not just about strength, it's about allegiance. Because here, the real power doesn't belong to the guards, it belongs to the numbers. The numbers are the infamous South African prison gangs that rule the underworld. The 26, 27s, and 28s. Each has its own hierarchy, laws, and rituals. To outsiders, it's madness, but to inmates, it's order in the chaos. The 26s control money and smuggling. The 27s claim authority and discipline. The 28s, the most feared, enforce violence and dominance. New inmates rarely have a choice. Join a gang or become prey. Some are initiated through brutal tests, fights, theft, or worse. Once you're in, there's no leaving. Betrayal means death. Within the cells, the gangs operate like governments. They decide who eats, who sleeps, who bleeds. They control the smuggling of everything, from drugs and phones to food and cigarettes. Even the guards know, to survive here, you either serve the system or you serve the numbers. The smuggling economy inside Pollsmoor is staggering. Almost anything can be bought, for the right price. Cell phones arrive hidden in food deliveries. Drugs are tossed over the walls in carefully planned drops. And sometimes, the contraband walks right through the front gate, carried in by guards who've been paid to look the other way. Corruption doesn't just live in Pollsmoor. It breathes. It feeds on desperation. Low-paid officers face constant temptation. With little oversight and even less protection, many fall into the trap. trading integrity for survival. And for those who refuse, life becomes a daily gamble. Guards are threatened, outnumbered, and often forced into silence. Inmates control entire wings. Violence is routine. Riots spark with little warning, sometimes over food, sometimes over pride, and sometimes over nothing at all. Inside these walls, there are no real winners, only survivors. But amid the chaos, there are moments that defy the darkness, moments of humanity that flicker like candlelight in a storm. Some inmates, faced with years or lifetimes behind bars, turn inward. They begin to read, to write, to teach. One former gang member, once a feared 28, now mentors young inmates, teaching them literacy and art. Another, sentenced to life for armed robbery, paints murals across the prison yard, transforming gray concrete into color and meaning. These are not the stories we hear often, but they matter, because they remind us that even in the most broken places, the human spirit can still fight to rise. Yet, redemption here is rare. Most who leave Pollsmoor carry its shadow with them. They return to the same neighborhoods, the same poverty, the same violence. And without support, many find themselves back behind the same walls, caught in an endless cycle of crime and punishment. The psychological toll of Pollsmoor is immense. The noise never stops. The tension never fades. Privacy doesn't exist. Imagine sleeping shoulder to shoulder with dozens of men, some violent, some ill, all desperate. You eat, breathe, and fight in the same space day after day, year after year. It changes people. It breaks them. Some become numb, others snap. Depression, paranoia, and suicide haunt the corridors. Inmates lose their names, replaced by numbers. Humanity slips away, one day at a time. Medical care is scarce. Tuberculosis and HIV spread unchecked. Soap is a luxury. Beds are rotten. Many die quietly in corners, unseen, unheard. This is not just a prison problem. It's a human one, a reflection of a society that built a system designed to punish, not to heal. Still, there are those on the inside who refuse to give up. Some guards, despite low pay and constant danger, come to work every day determined to make a difference. They form unlikely bonds with inmates, offering guidance, structure, and the faint hope that not all authority comes with cruelty. Others risk everything to expose the corruption and abuse inside, to demand reform in a place where silence is safer. These are the unsung heroes of Pollsmoor, and slowly, though painfully, change is coming. Small initiatives at education programs, counseling, and vocational training have begun to appear. Nonprofits have stepped in, offering literacy courses, mental health workshops, and art therapy. They can't fix the system overnight, but they plant seeds of hope in soil long thought barren. For South Africa, the question remains, will Pollsmoor ever truly change, or will it remain a monument to everything the country once was, and still struggles to escape? If Pollsmoor can be reformed, it won't just be a victory for justice, it will be a symbol that even the darkest institutions can find light. But for that to happen, there must be more than words. There must be will, because for now, Pollsmoor remains what it has always been, a mirror, reflecting not just the faces of its inmates, but the failures of a nation still trying to reconcile its past with its promise. The walls of Pollsmoor are high, but the stories they hold climb higher still. Stories of pain, power, and perseverance. They remind us that the line between justice and cruelty is thin and often blurred by fear. And yet, beneath all that, there's a truth that can't be silenced. Even here, in the heart of darkness, humanity still whispers. If you found this story as haunting and revealing as we did, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because every week, We take you deeper into the hidden corners of the world's toughest prisons, uncovering the untold stories most people will never see. Welcome to the Iron Curtains.